some time back, I was watching a philosophical discussion on television by four experts, and they started off respecting each other for 15 or 20 seconds. And then the conversation devolved into all four speaking at the same time with no respect for each other, and finally they were seeing who could talk the loudest. And I wanted to bring you back to a time 399 years BC to see how Socrates did it. He was executed at the age of 70 by drinking hemlock, having been charged with corrupting the youth and impiety. And that word is used in the sense of piety being right action and right thought, and not in the hypocritical way of, oh, he's too pious. Minnie and I are going to do a play written by Plato, who was Socrates' student. And it is Socrates discussing with Euthyphro outside the office of the prosecutor of crimes. I've adapted the language somewhat, and I will be playing the part of, well, Socrates. Euthyphro has just filed charges against her father for the death of a servant.
What brings you here, Socrates? Surely you aren't prosecuting someone, as I am.
The Athenians don't call this a prosecution, Euthyphro, but an indictment.
Someone has indicted you, Socrates?
Quite so.
Who is it?
I don't really know him myself, but his name is Meletus.
I don't know him either. What charge does he bring against you?
What charge? A very important one. He says he knows how our young people are corrupted and who corrupted them. He must be very wise. And he sees my ignorance corrupting his contemporaries.
What does he say you do to corrupt the young?
He says I lack piety and I create new gods while not believing in the old ones. And he has indicted me for the sake of the old ones. What is your case, Euthyphro? Are you the defendant or the prosecutor?
The prosecutor.
And whom do you prosecute?
One whom I am thought crazy to prosecute.
Are you pursuing someone who will easily escape you?
Far from it, for he is quite old.
Who is it?
My father.
Oh, my dear. Your own father?
Certainly.
What is the charge?
Murder, Socrates.
Good heavens, Euthyphro. Most people wouldn't know how they could do this and be right about it. This could only be done by someone who is far advanced in wisdom.
Yes, by Zeus, Socrates, that is so.
So he must have killed one of your relatives, for you surely wouldn't prosecute your father for the murder of a stranger.
It is ridiculous, Socrates, for you to think it matters who the victim was. If the killer did not act justly, you should prosecute, even if the killer is family. The victim was a servant of ours. In a drunken rage, the servant killed a household slave of ours. My father bound the servant hand and foot and threw him in a ditch and sent a messenger to the priest to ask what should be done. Before the messenger got back, the servant died. People accused me of impiety for prosecuting my father for this murder, but their ideas of the divine attitude toward piety and impiety are wrong, Socrates.
Whereas, Euthyphro, your knowledge of the divine and of piety and impiety is so accurate that you have no fear of being impious in charging your father?
Socrates, I would be of little use if I didn't have accurate knowledge of all such things.
Euthyphro, I have to become your pupil to learn your wisdom about piety. Then I can tell Meletus that I have studied under you. If you are wrong, Meletus can charge you against corrupting the old. And, including me.
Well, yes, Socrates. I think I could find his weak spots and turn the trial into something about him instead of about me.
I'm so eager to become your pupil, Euthyphro. So tell me, what kind of thing is godliness and ungodliness? Is piety the same and alike in every case? And is impiety the opposite and also alike itself in all cases?
Most certainly, Socrates.
Tell me then, what is the pious and what the impious, dear Euthyphro?
It is pious to prosecute a wrongdoer and impious not to do so. And I can cite powerful evidence for this. Zeus, the most just of the gods, bound and castrated his own father for unjustly swallowing his sons. Thus, what I do is also just.
This shows me my problem, Euthyphro, because sometimes I doubt these stories about the gods. But you, who have knowledge about these things, do you believe they're true?
Most certainly, Socrates.
And do you also believe there is really disagreement among the gods and even warfare and terrible battles among the gods?
Not only are those things true, but I know of many others that will amaze you.
Tell me about those later, Euthyphro. But for now, try to tell me more clearly what the pious is, because you didn't teach me adequately by just telling me that to prosecute your father was pious. Surely there are many actions that are pious.
There are.
And rather than giving examples of the pious, I need to know the form itself that makes all pious actions pious. For you agreed yourself that there was such a form for both the pious and the impious, or don't you remember?
I do.
Tell me then what this form itself is, so that I may use it as a model to measure all actions.
Okay, Socrates, we will do it your way. What is dear to the gods is pious. What is not is impious.
Splendid, Euthyphro. That's it. And you will obviously show me that what you say is true.
Certainly.
But we've also said that the gods are in a state of discord. Is that true?
We have.
What is this discord about? If you and I have disagreements about the number of things, we count them and resolve it, don't we?
Yes.
If we disagree about size or weight, we can measure and weigh and then agree.
That is so.
And the things we can't resolve are things like what is just and unjust, what is beautiful and ugly, what is good and bad.
Yes, those are the kinds of subjects where differences will remain.
And what about the gods, Euthyphro? Are those the kinds of subjects that the gods also disagree about?
It certainly must be so.
So, each god likes what each considers beautiful, good, or just, and hates the opposite?
Certainly.
And the gods go to war over these kinds of differences. Is that not so?
It is.
So, the same things are both loved by the gods and hated by the gods.
It seems likely.
And the same things would be both pious and impious, according to this argument.
I'm afraid so.
Euthyphro, you're playing with me. You say the same thing as both pious and impious, so that prosecuting your father may please Zeus, but displease Cronus and Uranus, pleasing to Hephaestus and displeasing to Hera.
No, Socrates, I think that on this subject, the gods would not differ. They would all say that whoever unjustly kills someone should pay the penalty.
But isn't the argument always over whether the action was unjust or not?
You are right.
Come now, Euthyphro, you must help me become wiser. How can we really define piety and impiety?
I would say that pious is what all the gods love, and impious is what all the gods hate.
That seems more helpful, Euthyphro. Can we examine the truth of it more closely or not?
Of course we can examine it, but I feel that it is a fine statement.
Well, I wonder, is the pious loved by the gods because it is pious, or is it pious because it is loved by the gods?
I don't know what you mean, Socrates.
I'm asking this. Is piety being loved by all the gods because it is pious or for some other reason?
For no other reason, Socrates.
Well, is everything loved by the gods' piety, Euthyphro?
No, of course not. The gods love other things as well.
So you've only told me a quality of piety, but you haven't yet told me what piety is, have you?
Well, no, not actually.
Now please, Euthyphro, do not hide things from me. But tell me from the beginning what piety is.
Well, Socrates, I can't tell you what I have in mind. For whatever proposition I put forward goes around and refuses to stay put.
I would rather have your statements remain stable too. How about this? do you think that all that is pious is of necessity just?
I think so.
And is then all that is just pious? Or is all that is pious just, but not all that is just pious, but some of it is and some is not?
I do not follow what you are saying, Socrates.
Yet you are younger than I by as much as you are wiser. You're making things difficult for me because of the wealth of your wisdom. Is not the pious a part of justice, or is the just a part of piety?
I believe that piety is a part of the just.
All right. So, if the pious is a part of the just, we must find out what part of the just it is, mustn't we?
I think, Socrates, that the pious is the part of the just that involves the care of the gods, while the remaining part is the care of humans.
Very well. But I still need a bit of information. I don't yet know what you mean by care, because I'm sure you don't mean care of the gods in the same sense as a horse breeder takes care of the horses, do you?
Yes, I do mean it that way.
So horse breeding is care of horses,
Yes,
and everyone knows how, not everyone knows how to care for dogs, but the hunter does.
that is so.
So the hunter is involved in the care of dogs,
Yes,
and cattle raising is the care of cattle,
quite so.
while piety and godliness is the care of the gods, Euthyphro. Is that what you mean?
I do.
So, dogs are benefited by hunters, cattle by cattle raisers, and so with all the others. Or do you think that care aims to harm the object of care?
By Zeus, no.
It aims to benefit the object of care?
Of course.
Is piety, then, which is the care of the gods, also to benefit the gods and make them better?
Well, no.
That's why I asked. Because I didn't think you meant that kind of care.
Socrates, it is difficult to be so precise in these matters. But I would say, to put it simply, that if one knows how to say and do what is pleasing to the gods at prayer and sacrifice and does it, that is piety.
You could have said this long ago. But you're not keen to teach me, that is clear. You were on the point of doing so, but you turned away. So now you say that piety is knowledge of how to sacrifice and pray.
I do.
To sacrifice is to make a gift to the gods, whereas to pray is to beg from the gods.
Definitely, Socrates.
It would follow then that piety would be a knowledge of how to give to and beg from the gods.
You understood what I said very well, Socrates.
That is because I'm so desirous of your wisdom. And I concentrate my mind on it so that no word of yours may fall to the ground. But tell me, what is this service to the gods? You say it is to beg from them and to give to them?
I do.
And to beg correctly would be to ask from them things that we need.
What else?
And to give correctly is to give them what they need from us. For it would not be skillful to bring gifts to anyone that are in no way needed.
True, Socrates.
Piety, then, would be a sort of trading skill between gods and men.
Trading, yes, if you prefer to call it that.
I prefer nothing unless it is true. But tell me, what benefit do the gods derive from the gifts they receive from us? What they give us is obvious to all. There is for us no good that we do not receive from them, but how are they benefited by what they receive from us? Or do we have such an advantage over them in the trade that we receive all our blessings from them and they receive nothing from us?
Do you not suppose, Socrates, that the gods are benefited by what they receive from us?
What could those gifts from us to the gods be, Euthyphro?
What else do you think but honor, reverence, and gratitude?
So, the pious is pleasing to the gods, but not beneficial or dear to them.
I think of all things it is most dear to them.
So, the pious is once again what is dear to the gods.
Most certainly.
When you say this, will you be surprised if your arguments seem to circle you again? Or do you not realize that our argument has moved around and come again to the same place? You surely remember that the pious and what the gods loved were shown not to be the same, but different from each other. Or do you not remember?
I do.
So, either we were wrong when we agreed before, or if we were right then, we're wrong now.
That seems to be so.
So, we must investigate again from the beginning what piety is, Euthyphro, as I shall not willingly give up before I learn this. So, tell me, my good Euthyphro, what is pious? And do not hide what you think it is.
Maybe some other time, Socrates. I have run out of time and must go for now. I'll see you later.
What a shame for me to lose this chance for wisdom and the hope that I could lead a better life.